Hello, good evening. Welcome to another Bold Lives, and I am delighted tonight to welcome Jess in for a chat. And I mean, I can introduce Jess, but it's probably best that Jess, you introduce yourself and let people know who you are, what you do, where you come from, and all the rest of the stuff. So, do you want to do a quick intro for the people who do not know who you are?
Okay, so my name's Jess. Lots of people know me as AuctionMum. Which I will explain at a later time, but AuctionMum. I currently live in Preston, in Lancashire. I used to live in Kent, but I'm from Preston, so I've come home. And that kind of comes into the way I do my things as well. But I am a consignment seller. So basically, I am a reseller, but not for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is how best to explain what consignment is. I am doing it for other people.
And how long have you been doing it for, as in reselling for other people?
I've been doing it as a business for 10 years.
Okay, so lots of experience of the consignment side. And what we'll do later on, we'll get into a bit more about what consignment is, because I know when I first spoke to you, it's actually, I think it was on the 24-hour live, actually, I think the last time, and you popped in, and even at that point, I've heard about consignment, but I didn't know how it would work for eBay. I never really thought about whether it's possible to work. And I think for a lot of us, we've had people such as family say, as soon as you mention, oh, I sell on eBay, everyone's always got something to say to you. Can you sell this for me? So we've all had kind of that part, but not doing it as a full-time thing. But what I'll do, I'll just jump in the chat and say hello to a few people, and then maybe we can start off with that. What is consignment? You can tell us all. So thanks everyone for joining, by the way. So Lucy, welcome. Robin's in. Hope you're well. Michelle's in. She was super excited that I was getting you on tonight, so I know she's a big fan. So hi Michelle, thanks for coming in. Lightwork Resells is in. Hi Alison. Hi Ian. Hope you're doing good. Fuzzy Feet Karim, hope you're well, mate. Just to let everyone know, Karim's doing a meetup. I'm hoping to make it, but honestly, the amount of traveling I've done recently, I kind of said to him, I just want a couple of weeks at home without having to travel. So if I can make it, I will. But if not, go and check out his Instagram. He's doing a really cool meetup. Limelight Vinty is in. AC Global is in as well. And I can't even think of any other consignment sellers in the UK. Yeah, and I know when we spoke, that was kind of what I said to you as well. I can't think of anyone else doing it. And I know on the 24-hour live, we had someone in from the US, funnily enough, who was doing consignment. And I think at that point, that was when someone messaged you. It might have been Michelle saying, oh my God, there's someone in the US, come and join the chat. Luxury Pickers are in from Greece. Well,
wow.
Yeah, lucky you guys. And I don't know why you're here watching me, but I do appreciate you coming in. Enjoy Greece anyway. There we are. Lightworks also messaged me this today. They're looking forward to this. So I guess it's the best place to start. For someone who doesn't have a clue, do you want to explain what consignment is and how it works?
So for me, consignment is taking somebody's stuff, and I won't use the word on your YouTube that other people use, my clients use. They say, take it.
Yeah.
I use the word stock because that's the word we all use. But I will take other people's stuff as my stock. They drop it to my door, they post it to me, and I sell it for them. And I found I dropped into this. It didn't. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain how it happened to me. Really, and it never even occurred to me that I could resell for myself. And it just happened, and it's been brilliant, honestly. And I recommend it to anybody. I'm going back, just to what you said before, that you didn't know if there's anybody else in the UK. There isn't. I've met anybody that does it exclusively, but I do know some people that do it partly.
Yeah, and that's the thing I've heard of. I've heard of people kind of doing it now and again, and it's a hot topic. And I mean, I got bundles of questions, but if you guys have got any questions tonight for Jess, please drop them in the chat and let's try and tackle them, because I've got loads of questions and loads of things that you probably come up with many a time. So hopefully we'll find some questions to catch you out on tonight. Fingers crossed, because it'll be a good challenge. But so tell us then how you got into reselling, because I think for a lot of us, including myself, you know, when you go to school and when you go to college or whatever, or university, I don't think any of us growing up, when asked what we want to be, I want to be a reseller. And it's kind of one of the things for a lot of us that kind of happened for some reason. So where's that background come from? Is that from younger? Have you always enjoyed the kind of flipping aspect, or what got you into it? No.
No, not at all. I did used to go to a few charity shops with my grandma, but that
Mhm.
is not at all where this has come from. I actually come from a performing arts background.
Yeah.
I did performing arts at university. I was singing, acting teacher after university. I did teacher training. And at that point, I was eBaying for myself. I've been eBaying since about 2007 for myself.
Mhm.
And and then I got married and I found out I was pregnant with twins. And there was no way of going back to work.
Yeah.
The money just wasn't there. We didn't earn enough as a teacher, and I couldn't get enough money. They only give you money for one child, not for two, even though you're having two.
Yeah.
So there's no childcare, there's no anything. So I had to make a decision at that point and I stopped work. And I carried on eBaying for myself. I eBayed for then my mother-in-law, my mum, and I wouldn't really charge them. It
Mhm.
wasn't a case of charging anybody. I would just take things on. People would bring bags to my door and I would take them. And I thought about doing it as a business, and I'd kind of commented to a few friends, and I found when the twins turned about 2, I was going mad. I
Yeah.
was going mad at home. I was bored. I mean, the twins were keeping me occupied, don't get me wrong, but
Mhm.
I'd always been in academia. I'd always worked hard. I'd always studied, and I was at home playing cook, clean, and bottle washer.
Yeah.
And I was going insane. And I thought, I
Sure.
have to do something for me. I have to try something for me. And a friend of mine said to me, she said, I have a lot of golf memorabilia.
Mhm.
I need it gone. It's my mum's. It's sat in my garage. I said, well, I know nothing about golf. She said, you've been talking about this for ages. We need to do it. Let's do it. And I said, well, okay, but I need your help. And her and her mum sat and wrote little post-it notes on every single golf item. There was signed golf memorabilia. They'd lived in America, so there was vintage. It was American. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And within the first month, I had made her mum £1,000, and that was without my fee. Now, at that time, it was a starter. It was a brand new thing. I wasn't really taking a lot of commission because I was just kind of dipping my toe in, really.
Sure.
And
Mhm.
she was a friend and she was starting me up. So I kind of said, well, let's start with this and we'll see how
Let's
we
see
go.
what
It might
happens.
not do anything.
Yeah.
You know, I might be no good at doing golf memorabilia. And and then she told a friend what I'd done for her and her mum, and it's not stopped since then.
Yeah, and that was going to be actually one of the questions we've got from Michelle. Do you find your own clients? Do they find you word of mouth or advertising? So what you were saying there is kind of word of mouth. You do it for one person, and they will tell 10
Absolutely.
others. Is that how it's always worked? Have you ever had to advertise
Always.
yourself? So you've never had to
Never.
do any advertisement? That's amazing.
Never. I have a Facebook page. It's an
Yeah.
AuctionMum Facebook page, and in the whole time it's been going, which is a while, I had one person message me to ask if I would sell something, and they
Mhm.
weren't prepared to give me the item, so I said no.
Yeah.
And that was that for me. But I just thought I have to have the item in my hand.
Yeah.
And that's the only time that's ever happened. Everything else has been word of mouth. Everything. And I can't tell you how much that works.
Yeah, just doing a good job for someone and get it recommended to someone else, it goes
Yeah.
such a long way. But again, it goes to show that you are doing a good job. Luxury Picker saying it's huge industry in the luxury pre-owned market in terms of physical stores. We call them dress agencies or the Americans consignment stores. Many of them sell on marketplaces, but it's very much an industry on its own and doesn't drip into the reseller community as such. Yeah, so it is big. I think it is a lot. It's a lot bigger from what I've heard in America of people doing it more often. One of the questions I've got, and I'll just say a few more hellos as well. Hello, Louise, and I'll get to everyone's questions as well. But one of the questions I've got is how long do you tell your clients it's going to take to sell? Because I think the most frustrating thing when I think about ever doing consignment would be if I was to give you an item, and in my head I don't do eBay, so I'm going to give you this phone case, and I'm going to say to you, can you sell this to me? You say, yeah, I can do that for you. My fees are X amount.
Yeah.
How many clients bug you on like a daily basis or an hourly basis or a weekly basis? Has it sold yet? Has it sold? Has it sold? Or do you kind of lay the ground rules at the start to make sure that doesn't happen? And tell us a little bit about that.
So in the whole time I've been doing it, I've had 2 clients that bug me.
Yeah.
One's gone because she thinks she can do better. See you later. The other one's my other one's my best friend, so I put up with that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
She just texts me and I text her back. But that's absolutely fine. I lay the groundwork. I say to them, this isn't a quick thing. You're in a queue. And I have a list. I have recently changed the way I work things, and I will explain again when we come to that. I'll explain. But I'll say to them, you are in a queue. There are, I don't know how many people in front of you. And there are some people that have been waiting a year. And I know that sounds like a long time, but when you're getting it in the vast quantities that I am getting it, it can take that time to get those things on. I think what happens, the way I see it, is that people have fallen out of love with those items. So if you guys are getting these items from a charity shop, when these people take those things to the charity shop, they're not thinking, oh, I took that item to the charity shop.
They're done with it.
I wonder what that some person's bought it for. They're done. They want it gone out of their house. They have fallen out of love with it. They want it gone. They don't care. Now, with me, they know at some point they are going to get something back from that item. They're really not that bothered when that happens.
Sure.
They just know at the end of it there is going to be something.
Yeah. So these are for the people in a way who kind of want to get something for it if they can, but they don't want to spend the time doing the work. And I think that's where you come in, because that's a big thing. A lot of people, have you had this before where people come to you and you kind of, and you don't have to share what, percentage you charge, etc.
Oh yeah, no, I'm fine.
But if you're happy to do so, have you had someone kind of question that before and kind of say, why do you charge so much? And you've had to really explain to them the work that goes into it, or?
No, not at all.
So that surprises me the most, because I thought a lot of people would hear, I mean, I don't know your percentage, but a lot of people hear a percentage and straight away they think, oh, that seems quite high, without realizing us as resellers, the work we have to put in.
I always ask. So obviously, because I work on word of mouth, such and such a body has sent me your number. And the first thing I say is, okay, well, did such and such a body tell you how it works?
Okay.
And before I even talk about taking stuff, we talk about how it works. And I have a standardized message that I send to people saying how the system works.
Yeah.
I used to take, up until very, very recently, 33% of what the item sells for. And I don't factor the fees in. The client is responsible for all the fees.
Yeah.
So the reason I do it like that is because that way they're left with just over 50% of their item. And that for me is important. Because I think to myself, they're not going to come back if they think I'm getting more than they are, and they're not getting 50% back of their item, then they probably won't come back.
And I was going to say, the crazy thing with that, Jess, is your cost of goods is zero.
Yes.
So you're getting 33% of nothing, but obviously you're having to do the work. You're having to do the work in for it. How do you deal? We've got a few more questions I'll jump to in just a second, I promise you guys. No, it's all right, because honestly, I've been thinking all day and I've got so many questions. How do you deal with the return aspect then? So if I was consigning stuff to you and my phone case sells today, when do I get paid as the client? Do I have to wait 30 days, 60 days, 6 months, or how long?
Well, this is another thing that shocks people when I tell them about, not the clients, just general people, is that I don't have a system for it.
Okay.
So what I say is I'll let you know when it's at 100.
Yeah.
Because most people don't think I can get it to 100.
Okay, I'm with you.
And I had this is a very good example. I think I did say this on the live, on your live, is that a very good friend of mine, she was a mum at school. I'd started the business. I think I'd been doing it probably about a year. And not many people of the mums at school knew what I did. And they were chatting one day about the cost of children's clothes and things like that, and how they had all these children's clothes and they needed to buy the next ones and they couldn't really afford it, and they had all these that they didn't know what to do with. And a friend of mine, and I tapped her and I said, give me the bag out of the boot of your car that you're about to take to the charity shop. And she went, but it's a load of rubbish. And I said, no, honestly, let me take it and I'll just see what I can do with it. And it wasn't just children's clothes in there. It was crazy. She had a Thomas Sabo bracelet in there in its box that got £90 on its own. And she was about.
But people see it as work. People see
it
as junk, don't they? That's the thing. It's like what we all do when you go to a car boot sale field. You know, you pick up something and ask someone how much it is, and it's £2, and then you come back and sell it for 200 because people don't value the stuff they've got.
Exactly.
So,
and he was shocked. And so that's why I always say 100 now to people, because I know I can make you 100 from your bag.
Yeah.
Even from one bag of stuff that you give me, I know I can make 100. So when it's at 100, I let them know. But I do say to people, you don't have to take it if you don't want it. Leave it.
Okay. Keep building it.
I have a separate bank account, and most of my clients use me as a bank. They are saving for something. They're saving for a holiday. They're saving for another shopping trip. I've got a client that literally saves for her next shopping trip. And I always say, oh, so you're going to go and buy me more stuff to sell? And she's like, yeah. And she does. She takes the money that I give her. She goes off to London and she spends on Oxford Street. And then the next year I've got 10 more bags ready for selling.
It's such an interesting way of doing it. And Michelle put there. That's such a clever idea. They pay the fee, so you aren't earning more. And I think I think you're right in doing so, because if they still think they're earning more than you, you're right, they're going to keep coming back. Where if it's, say, a 60-40 split on your half, they feel like, oh, do you know what? Although I was going to give it away, I've had to do no work. They still feel like they are making less, and they start feeling that. So that's a clever way to do it.
So when I send them their spreadsheet, so when I do pay them, when they ask for that, usually what happens is they ask for their money. I kind of leave it. I end of tax year, so end of financial year, the week before the 1st of April, I spend sending people their money. I send them how much they've got on their spreadsheet and say, I'd like to clear these. You don't feel that you have to, but I'd like to clear it and start a new spreadsheet. Yeah. And then October, November time, I tell people how much, because I know that Christmas is such a hard time for some people. And if I'm sat on their money, not that they can't ask, they can absolutely ask, but sometimes they forget. Sometimes they forget that it's there. So I'll say, right, you've got this. Do you want it for Christmas? And they'll go, oh God, yeah, that'll pay for whatever. And so I try and do it that. So that's twice a year. But then they can ask at any time. When I send them their spreadsheet, I put literally everything on it. I am very transparent. I put what my fee is on there as well. It's all on there. And obviously over the years I've become a bit more comprehensive with my spreadsheets, but what I don't do is literally itemize absolutely every single thing to the letter. I'll put warehouse dress or
of course,
boohoo dress. I will not be going into colour, size, anything like that.
Yeah, of course. It's too much admin for your side for the percentage. It makes perfect sense.
Exactly.
Lisa's asking here, do you sell everything your clients give you, or do you say no to stuff not worth much, or may sit for ages and not sell? So yeah, say for instance I was coming to you with a big IKEA bag and saying, sell all this for me. Will you sit with the client beforehand and say, or do you literally take everything and say what sells and what doesn't sell doesn't sell?
Take everything.
Okay.
The reason I do this is because in the past, at the very beginning, I had clients turning up saying to me, right, I've filtered out the rubbish for you.
Yeah.
And I'd go, okay.
Is it your rubbish or is it my rubbish?
And that's the point. And that is such a subjective. What is rubbish? Because that Thomas Sabo to my friend was rubbish.
Yeah.
But it got her £90 and it got me a percentage of that. So what is rubbish? I know we kind of say it and we're a bit flippant, but what is art? I feel the same about what is rubbish. Because everybody's got a different opinion on that. And I have had Primark shoes sell for more than a designer item.
Yeah, and that's the thing for you who's doing it all the time. You become an expert of what is rubbish and what isn't. So you're right. When a client is saying, "Oh, I chucked away, I don't know, this box Nintendo 64 games console because they're old and who plays them anymore? Oh, it's brand new and sealed though, but no one's going to want that, and I've just chucked it in the bin." So you'd rather take everything
and you feel
and let
like
you do the work.
crying.
I know, yeah, we've all been there. Ian's asking similar there, so I think it's the same sort of answer. What is your process for accepting stock? Do they just send bundles and all sorts? You decide how to list items. So yeah, what you were just saying there.
Yeah. So what I do is I have, like I say, systems changed a little bit since I moved back home. But and I've started doing Instagram lives with my stock. So it has changed. That has changed the way I do things. I used to put it in the shed and then when I'd pull it out, I'd go through it. But now I'm doing the Instagram lives. What I'm doing is when it comes in the house, I'm sorting through it, then doing an Instagram live and then possibly putting it away until I'm getting it back out.
Yeah.
So what I do is I do go through everything quite meticulously. At that point, I check for holes and tears and brands and things like that. And people give me everything. I have one very good friend of mine who knows I don't like toys. I don't like toys. It's the only thing I can honestly say. I'll say to people, are you going to give me toys? Yeah. I've had bad experiences with toys in the past. People want them, in my opinion, for nothing. They want them perfect. And I don't know enough about them. I don't think I can learn enough about all the toys that are out there. I'm so in awe of Ian, Master of Pieces, of how much he knows. I watch him. The knowledge. And I've had people say, well, this sticker's missing. Oh, it's a sticker. And you had a picture of it. You knew it was missing. And so I say no toys, but she literally tips the toy box into a black bin liner and it's got bits of biscuit and socks and knickers and stuff like that from her children's toy box. And so at that point I have to go through everything with a fine-tooth comb because I know people are just tipping. They're not even looking anymore because they don't care.
And that was part of Lucy's question there. Is it just clothes or is it other items such as games, toys and other stuff? So I guess with consignment, you can't be over fussy with what category. Is there anything you will not take to sell? Would you take like bikes and that kind of thing? Or you would take bikes?
I've very recently helped somebody move out of a house, quite big, expensive house. They had light fittings. pictures, paintings, all bits of furniture, sofas and things like that to sell. So I was doing that, and then back in June I sold a Mini.
Amazing. You're doing cars as well.
Yeah, 2 cars as well. And that was a client of mine who I've had from Kent for a while, and it was her stepson. And he just rang me and he said, look, I've got this car. Do you think you can do it for me? And when we were talking about percentage before, he was going to be somebody I brought up, because he's the only time I've actually changed the way I do things, and because it was such a high value item. So I now take 35% because cost of living's gone up, and we're all feeling it. And the clients, when I message my clients, I obviously say it had been 4 years since I'd put my prices up. So they were all absolutely fine with it.
I mean, they're still getting the majority share anyway. So I think even 35% is very fair. I mean, I think you could even push it to like 40% and people still feel okay doing it, because as I say, all they are doing is dropping you off a bag of stuff that they deem as rubbish.
Yeah.
And then they're just sitting back, and then they get a phone call or a text from you saying, oh, by the way, Joe Blogs, when do you want your 500 quid?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In their mind, it's like worthless, like you said earlier. So I think that percentage is fair, to be fair, for the work that you are doing. What do you do about refunds and returns? Who pays for that? Does that just come straight out of their pot?
So I take it out of my pot.
Okay.
So I charge a little bit extra on my postage, and I use that as contingency money. And I've done that for a very long time. Very early on, when I was learning about eBay and selling and whatever, doing my own, I did a lot of Harry Potter stuff. I had a lot of Harry Potter stuff that I'd bought from boot fairs and things like that. And when I moved into my bigger house to have my children, I thought, well, what am I going to do with all this Harry Potter stuff? I'm going to have no room for it, because it's going to be children's bedrooms. It's going to sit in the garage. And I made a lot of money from that. But I realised I needed a pot of contingency in case of damage, returns, things like that, even just for myself. So when I started the business, I knew I needed a bit of contingency for those returns. And obviously the returns process has changed so much in the last 10 years. I've been there through all of the changes. But the best way I've found to deal with it is for that item that's returned to become mine. So I leave it on my client's spreadsheet. They've been paid that for it.
Yeah. And you'll try and resell it, and even if you have to take a little bit less than it originally sold for, you can resell it again.
And it's gone.
Makes perfect sense. Just say a few more hellos. We've got some more questions. Please keep the questions coming. I'll try and get them all answered tonight. Just want to say hi, Alan, as well. Subscribe to Michelle's channel. So again, Michelle is in the chat. She's got a YouTube channel, so please go and follow that. Let me have a look here. Resellers Blueprint is in as well, and I missed a question. AC Global's asked a question. How do you record your accounts? Total sales less the money you give back to your client, or do you just declare your fee as your income? So do you do your own books yourself, or have you got an accountant who looks after it?
No, I don't have an accountant, and never had an accountant. I do it all myself. I use numbers on my iPad.
Yeah.
I use formula, and everybody's got, so they're all on one spreadsheet, but everybody's got a tab. And so I just kind of filter through the tabs. I have got my iPad here to show you. I have got my ring light on, so it might be a bit difficult.
No, you're all good.
So everybody has a spreadsheet. I'm going to switch this off.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the light, it might not show. This might.
So,
oh yeah, we got it. Yeah.
And then so everybody's got their names across the top, and I just filter through each one. I've got the item. I've got what month it sold.
Yeah.
I've actually added that in the last 2 years. I didn't used to do that because I didn't think it mattered. And it doesn't still really matter. It's actually more for my accounts than for them, though I leave it on, because I think they find that quite interesting, to be fair. Some of them look at the spreadsheet. Some people don't even look at it. They just say thanks, and then they never look at it.
Well, that comes with trust as well. Do you know what I mean? It comes from, like, you know, these people might have worked for you for a number of years, or it might be a case of the person who's recommended you to them, they trust them, so they kind of trust that. Do you know what? And in a way, unless they go through your eBay store and check it all and work it all out, they might not ever know anyway. In a way, so I think trust in this game with consignment, I think trust is the biggest thing, and I think that's what puts a lot of people off, because you don't want to get to the stage of when it comes to paying someone out, you're having to, you know, they're thinking, oh, is that the right amount? Are you sure? Let me check this. You don't want to work with them kind of people. And the trust is a two-way thing. So
it became a little bit more difficult, and I had to do lots of kind of more explaining than I'd ever done when Vinted came along. Because I'd only ever sold on eBay. I'd never even done Facebook Marketplace because I didn't particularly like it that much, you know, scammers and whatever. So really, I'd kind of stuck to eBay. So there was that. Well, back in the day, it was 10% with the 2.8% for PayPal. So I had all of that, and not anymore. So now that eBay do their own payments, and then Vinted came along, and then there was blank spaces on the spreadsheets, and I thought, well, that looks odd now to people that have been doing this a long time, that have been working with me for a long time. They're going to think that's odd that there's blank spaces. So then I had to start explaining. Now we've got Poshmark, we've got Depop, and my columns are constantly changing. They're constantly maneuvering to facilitate all these new things that are coming in. But actually, my clients, it's not that they don't care. I don't like to use that word, but they're not bothered. They're happy, like you say. They just trust me, which is
that's the trust. It's the trust aspect, that's really key. As soon as you've got the trust from the client, you haven't got to sit and explain it line by line. You just show them the snapshot in a way, and they're like, great. Like, I bet most people, Jess, probably say to you, I didn't expect it to be that much.
They are always surprised, and it's the reason why I still do my job, because I love the part where I tell them how much is there.
It's like winning the national lottery, isn't it?
Yeah, it gives me a happy feeling. Their response,
it's
like there was a client who was a friend of my ex-husband's, and he came to me and he said, would you sell this stuff? And I don't really know what he expected, but he had some amazing stuff. He's traveled to America, and he was buying special editions of football tops and shoes, and oh God, really good stuff. And when I told him originally how much he had, and I sent him the spreadsheet, and he was one of the people that looked, and he went, that t-shirt there, he said, what was that? Went for £50. And I said, oh, and I told him what it was. I can't remember what it was now. It was so long ago, but I told him, and he went, no way. He said, I got that free with a CD.
People don't realize, and this is the thing, people don't realize that with the older stuff, it might have been free or cheap back then, but in time it becomes more expensive. It's more sought after.
And I love the research. I love getting this stuff in. It excites me when this stuff comes in, and I know I have to research, and I'm thinking, oh God. And I love my clients, but when I get a new client and I don't know what it is, I'm thinking, oh God, this is something new. Fantastic. It's so great.
Michelle is saying, how many items do you average active on your eBay? So how many items have you got listed on eBay, and what does that kind of average at?
So currently now I have 700. Now, back when I lived in Kent, I used to do 1,000, 1,200. And then personal things took over, as they do. I think life is one of those things, because you can't control what's going on. My business has been my only thing that's kept me straight and narrow on everything, because personally, I've been through a little bit in the last kind of 5 years. And so I split up with my husband and I needed to come home from Kent. We're not on bad terms. It's just I needed to come home. My daughter was going through autism diagnosis and all of that. And so my shop dropped. My shop dropped. Then COVID happened. And I had 3 children at home. One was still going through her autism diagnosis, and my youngest has got Crohn's disease. And so I had all this, and then I had a terrible experience in the post office because I was selling at that time. I was only posting out weekly. I only ever posted out weekly, which now sounds absolutely crazy, but I did it for years. And I only ever posted out on a Monday.
Well, people were less impatient now. I think with Amazon, everyone expects everything yesterday. And that's what's changed. I think people know that they can order, and with Amazon, you can order in the morning and get it by the evening. So that makes sense.
And so I went to the post office with, I think it was about 40 items. And I got shouted at from the post office person to say I was causing a queue and I was causing people to get COVID. And so I stopped selling, and I didn't sell.
That's a shame.
I didn't sell for 18 months. I obviously had things going on at home. Marianne got the autism diagnosis, and I had to go into older hay with my daughter and with Crohn's and things like that. So other things were happening, but that it shook me. And I thought I wasn't causing people to have COVID, but I wasn't prepared to have the argument with the post office person. And so I stopped. And then honestly, when I came back, the eBay world had changed.
In 18 months?
In 18 months, it had changed. I was AuctionMum, and I was AuctionMum because auction was king. And when I came back, it was not king anymore.
So you should be called Buy It Now Mum now, really, which is a name change.
I still do a bit of auctions, but before I only really did auctions. I hardly ever did a Buy It Now.
I think you're right. I think I started reselling during COVID is when I really started reselling. And you're right, from that point it was very much Buy It Now, auctions dying out. But I remember eBay used to be auctions. And I remember eBay growing up where you used to have to send like a postal check to get the items. You had to send that to them first of all for that to be all cash, and then they would ship your items. So it just goes to show how it's changed so quickly.
It really has. And I have gone through on a learning journey since then of how to change the way I do things. Nothing with my clients has changed. They still ship to me in exactly the same way. But one thing I did say to them after learning all this information after COVID, and really it's thanks to all the Instagrammers out there, I have to shout out to them because they have taught me. Quite a few of them started during COVID, and they have developed this brand new thing, and they have taught me all of that. So I've come with this knowledge of the old eBay, and now I've got the knowledge of the new eBay, and kind of smushed it together in a fashion. Yeah. So in answer to Michelle, sorry, that was a very long way around.
No,
Michelle.
It's good. It's good to hear it.
It used to be lots. It used to be a lot of active. But I also used to send everything live on a Sunday night.
Yeah, on the auction.
On the auction, everything, you had to time it right. It was either a Friday night or a Sunday night. Yeah. You couldn't do a 10-day auction really because it wouldn't end in the right place. Yeah. So it was 7-day, and obviously everything's different now. Everything's different.
I bet your Mondays were an absolute nightmare.
That's why I posted on a Monday. I would get everything packaged, shipped out on a Monday.
That's a whole day event on Monday.
Whole day Monday. Get it shipped out, cause an awful queue in the post office, which people tutting behind me. Yeah. And a lovely post office lady down in Kent always said to me, Jess, you are here every week. They only come at Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, and
So
you help the post office out more than, and I always think that as well. I mean, I had a
yeah,
conversation about going off a little bit. I had a conversation about charity shops with someone the other week, and I was saying about how what people don't realize, and we get comments on the YouTube videos about even at the car boot sale. You know, you guys are ruining car boot sales. It's not for you. It's for people who can't afford things. And what people don't understand is us as resellers, we spend more. I would
yes,
say on average over the course of a year compared to Doreen down the road who might go in there and spend £10 a month, you know, because
yes,
we are constantly in there feeding them money. So, you know, there's
yeah.
an argument to both. So where that
What I've
person in the post
also
office says you're holding them up, you're not.
And what I also find about the car boot and charity shop argument
Mm,
is these people that they think the poorer people that need that, they don't
yeah.
necessarily want to go into a charity shop.
Well, too
They
overpriced
are
anyway,
the
let's be
ones.
honest. Let's not kid ourselves. The charity shop prices are like shop prices these days.
But they don't want to be seen in there either. They have a stigma
No.
against it. They
Yeah,
have a
absolutely.
kind of thing if they go and buy from the charity shop. There is still that stigma for that person. You know, they
Yeah.
don't necessarily want to use that. So we're actually, I think there was somebody on Instagram actually. Oh, I'm sure it's Thrifting Ginger or something like that. I'm sorry if I've got your name wrong, but she was actually she hit the nail on the head. She actually said she is facilitating for those people,
Hmm.
that don't want to go in, those people that can't go in. She is facilitating it, and
Yeah.
absolutely, I agree with that. Sorry, that's my little rant over and done.
No, it's good. I'll say a few more hellos. Pick me up, Lucky Mark is in. Hope you're good, Mark. And I just want to pull up a few comments, and I'll go back to the things. And I completely agree. Mark's saying, "We love you, Jess. Such an organised wee tootie, whatever that means. It's some Scottish thing that Mark probably says. I'm guessing tootie is person. Um, let me have a look here. There we go. Alan's saying, Jess, you deserve every penny for the work you put in. 100% agree on that. Lee's saying it must be interesting to go through bag of stuff and see what's in there. Yeah, it's like a mystery box every new client.
Love it.
You're such an inspiration in what you balance out, Jess, and such a brilliant support to us, all with everything going on.
Thanks, Ross.
Hi, Emma. You're amazing, Jess. You work so hard and you are the best mum. And I can vouch for that. I know even on the live and stuff, you know, you were there chatting to us on the live and still managing the household as well. So you're constantly busy. Let me just go back to a few more questions as well.
Yeah.
Say a few more hellos. Well, hi, Tommy. Hope you're good. Gary's asking, is that 35% after fees? I think you said it is after fees, isn't it? Or
No,
before
so
fees?
so the 35% is I take that from what it sells for. The fees come out of the other percentage that's left over. So the 65% that's left over, the fees come out.
It's where the fees come. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ali's in. Georgie's in. Hope you're good, George. Good to see you. Shout out to George as well, because he is so consistent with the lives as well. I know he took a little bit of a break, and I'm doing the same through September. Just a bit of a month to recharge the batteries, because it is quite hard and it is quite draining doing YouTube alongside running a full-time eBay business. So yeah, good to see you in the chat, mate.
This is my last day today. I took August off. I've not listed anything new. So I've still been scheduling, I've still been posting out, I've still been putting things on my spreadsheets, but I've not listed, not photographed, not drafted, not anything throughout the whole of August.
Yeah.
Back to it tomorrow.
Back to it. Well, yeah, my eBay is going to continue business as usual.
Yeah.
It's just the YouTube, just a month off, just to recharge. And also I'm working on a few other things as well. I've got another YouTube channel I'm working on at the moment, which is not reselling related. So I'm going to put a bit of time into that as well. Ian J is saying, if there is a small tear in the coat arm, for instance, but there is still some value, would it be at your discretion to sell it or discard? Great question there. So if you find something that's a bit damaged, do you kind of, as part of your agreement, say, if I find anything that I can't sell, I am just going to donate or discard?
Yes. So it is at my discretion. But I have all of what I make sure is that every single one of my clients is on WhatsApp. Yeah. So I can contact them at any point, either just a message, or sometimes I do video call or voice call with them, just to go through. I do have some clients that give me fakes. they know who they are.
Don't point at me. I've not sent you
No,
anything.
not you.
You were like
Not
that.
you. I'm going like that because they're going to watch, because I know one of
Yeah.
them is going to watch. You know who
Yeah.
you are.
Stop sending fakes. We can pick them out.
But I message them and they are very honest about it. And I say, is this or isn't this? And they go, no, it's not. And I go, right, well, you know, I can't do anything with it. What do you want me? Because I actually do ask clients when they first give me stuff, what they want to do with the stuff that I cannot sell, don't sell, all that kind of thing. They do not want it back.
Yeah.
They couldn't care less what I did with it.
No.
What I try and do is I try and take it to a clothes weigh place. And then I don't do it per client. I do it in bulk.
Yeah,
and
take
then
a big bag.
I actually take about 10. I store them outside in my bin containers until I've got a decent amount to go there, because I don't like doing it in dribs and drabs. And then I will know which clients I am doing it for, and I will split the money that I get from the weigh place along their spreadsheets. It's not a lot, but it's better than just getting rid.
Yeah, it makes sense. And if someone else can make use of it in some way, and you know, it can go to someone who's going to use it, I completely agree. If you have anything in your store or anything where you think it's worthless, I mean, I'll take it down the car boot sale and I'll give it away for free. I'd rather it go to a better home, if not a charity shop. And if they won't take it, I'm the same. Like a clothes recycling centre, for instance, for clothing, just where it can go off somewhere and someone can get used.
Most of the things that I get rid of are damaged, significantly damaged, or they are things like vest tops. You know, like just a bog standard vest top from H&M. You know, or
which is
that.
There's no resale value in it.
There is nothing. Not even a bulk of them. There's nothing. So I have become quite good at going, no. Never has a client messaged me and gone, what did you do with that H&M vest top that I gave you? That didn't seem to sell. They've never, ever done that.
No, because they probably forgot that H&M vest tops in the bag, because again, it's worthless to them. So
I've had it where a client has said, when I've told them how much a single item has gone for, a designer item, and they've gone, oh, I forgot that was even in there.
Yeah.
And I've gone,
that wasn't meant to be in there. Oh well, never mind.
They've never said that. But what I did find, I'd had when I moved into this house, I was moving all my stock from Kent. It was in my brother's garage while I lived with my parents during COVID. And then I'd moved it into, so obviously my clients were waiting over 18 months before I was selling anything again. I'd made everybody aware. And then I went into a bag and I found a pair of vintage Gucci flip-flops. And I thought, okay. And I can still tell you now there's things in there that I don't know what's in there. So I could find something fairly similar. I don't know. Because
I was going to say, we're going to come on to an announcement soon. Actually, let's do that now. Let's do your announcement now, because I want to go on to what you just said there. So Jess has an announcement for us all this evening, and I was super excited when she voice noted me earlier on Instagram, basically like, James, can I ask you a question? Is that okay if I mention this? And I was like, please mention it. So Jess, the floor is yours. Shock everyone with this announcement.
So I'm going to be starting a YouTube channel.
which is incredible, because what you were just saying there about all of this stuff you've got in bags that you don't even know what it is, they are going to make the best YouTube videos. It's a mystery haul, like every week or every day or every hour. I don't know
how quite I'm going to work it yet, because I do love doing my Instagram live hauls. So I don't know whether I'm going to mix it between the two, or whether I'm going to do what's sold on my YouTube and say, because when I'm doing my live hauls on Instagram, I've not done any research because I don't know what it is. So when everybody's been to the charity shops, I love it when they can say, oh, well, I've done the research already. I can get such and such an amount for this. Well, I can't do that. So actually, that's what I think I'm probably going to use my YouTube for, is saying, right, I've done my research on this. This is me researching it. So this item is going to be, and obviously I don't have a value. That's something that I do struggle with.
Yeah.
is that I don't have a starting value because it's nothing for me.
Yeah.
You guys have got a value in your head. I have paid. I've invested this.
Of course, and that makes it easier for you when it comes to selling things as well. Because if, for instance, you've listed an item up at say £80 and you get an offer at 50, you're more likely to take that offer feeling like, do you know what, the client's going to be happy, they expected nothing, I'm going to be happy. Where if we've invested say £30 into that item, we have the whole thing of, oh, is it going to make enough profit for me? So the fact that your cost of goods is zero puts you at a real advantage.
I struggle with that.
You need to stop struggling with that, because think about the amount of times you can reinvest that money, or they can reinvest that money as well.
I struggle with accepting with low offers, they don't get accepted. But even if it's like a tenner under, I'll think, oh God. Oh,
Jess, you need to stop. You need to stop thinking that, because honestly, the quicker you get out of your head, the more sales you're going to make. Good.
I have got better, and I love the new feature on eBay. That new feature, if you're listening, of
eBay always
sending multiple offers at the same time
with the coupon code. Yeah, on the mobile, it's so much easier.
Well, this is something I wanted to talk to you about, James, because I'm not sure that you know about this. Is that I don't have a business account on eBay.
Okay. I'm not here to tell you need one, but I would recommend getting one, because you can start running so many promotions and markdowns. It's going to change your business.
Because I don't need to have one.
Yeah.
Because I'm not buying to sell. Yeah. I don't need to have one. And so I then get quite a lot of listings free.
Oh, of course you do. Yeah, because on a personal account you get, how many do you get free a month?
I get 1,000 a month free.
Oh, I don't mean this when I say this, but I hate you for getting that. But I think if you can, because you're right, you won't need one in that sense. And if you can maintain not having one, then that makes perfect sense.
I ask eBay every time I have to phone up about something that happened. I make sure that I talk to that person, because I know that they're recording me.
Of course, and all the calls are.
Yeah, and I mention every single time, can I just check that you know what I do for a living, and that it's still okay that I'm on a personal account, and all of this, because I know that one day it's going to change.
Yeah, you'll get the dreaded email one day where it says, basically, we're going to move you across.
Yes. And they, every time they say, no, it's fine. Now, I think the reason why it's fine for now is because certain countries are still doing this. But when I started doing the job that I'm doing for consignment, eBay used to call them trading assistants.
Oh, and interesting.
There was a directory on eBay. You could look one up in your area.
Oh, and these are the things that I just do not know, because it's so different to what I do on a day-to-day, you know?
Yes. And so in this country, they've actually stopped it. But I know in other countries, they still have the directory.
Yeah.
And eBay have their own contract. So you can print off that contract and you can use it for your business. And so my contract, which I actually don't use that often, but when I do use it, it is the old eBay one.
So if you was to then start buying stuff yourself to resell, that would change things, wouldn't it? So say you started to go out to car boots. Yeah. Okay. So because you're not physically going out and buying it, and you're kind of being gifted these items to sell.
Yes.
Okay. So there must be such a fine line. So I guess, the moment you start going to car boot sales and filling up a trolley full of stuff to sell yourself, it changes.
And that would never happen for me, because I can't physically walk around these places. So for people who don't know, I was born with no hip sockets. So car boots for me are out, unless I'm going in my Motability scooter, which I really don't fancy.
Well, you can go and you can pull my trolley behind you if you want. We can go around together.
Attach it to my scooter.
You've got a good thing, because you haven't got to get up at stupid o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. I don't. The thing that I do love about the second best thing, the best thing about my business is telling these people how much they've earned. That is my absolute best, and I love it. The second best is that I have no outlay. Yeah. Bit of parcel tape, a few postage bags, My bags, my address labels, and the bags that I store everything in.
That's it. That's all you've got.
And that's it.
Yeah,
That is literally
it's
it.
amazing how you haven't got that outlay.
And I do love that, and I wouldn't change that.
No, I don't blame you. I'm thinking about it. It's the way for a lot of people. It's another way to do things, but the word of mouth and reputation is absolutely key. Because if you mess about clients, that quickly gets around as well. And so you've shown that you've done it for so many years now that obviously you're reliable enough where people keep coming back to you for one, and not just keep coming back to you, but also recommending you out. So as I say, one person will tell 10, they'll also tell 10, and that just expands. Where you'll get people contacting you and say, well, how did you find out about me? And it might be from 6 people down the line who you first started working with. So
and I always thank my clients for coming back, and they've become very close friends with me now, because some of them I've had them for 10 years. But I do thank them, and I always say thank you so much, and they go, no, thank you. And they say, you're the one that's taking these things and making us something. And I never think of it like that. I think they're helping me with my little business.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're grateful for you, but you're also grateful for them as well.
Absolutely.
I just want to say, George made a sale during this live, and what we can guarantee, Jess is guaranteeing this. If you'd like this video before we end tonight on your way out, you'll also make a sale before midnight, and that's Jess's guarantee. So if you don't make a sale, you can message Jess on Instagram and moan at her.
Okay, cool.
Let me just catch up on the chat, see if we've got any more questions. Boolean Buys is loving the video. Thanks you both for putting together. Well, no, thank you, Jess, for coming on and explaining it, because
it's been amazing.
It was great having you on a 24-hour live, but it's good to actually be able to have a one-to-one chat with you with a side chat and kind of dig a bit deeper into it. People were saying earlier as well with regards to the shops and post office. I mean, I use the Every shop myself to drop off my parcels. I do everything by Every, and they're amazing in there. But that's because I've gone in there for such a long time now, and they all know me by name. A lot of them watch the YouTube videos as well, which helps, because they're always like, oh, I saw you got this at the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So now when I walk in, I just say to them, I say, do you want me to do it? Because I see you guys are busy. And they're like, yeah, if you could, and give me the scanner. I just scan them myself now.
Yeah.
But I think building that relationship is so important. Get to know your people at your post office, your Every store, and it goes a long way.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, there's always going to be the odd person who will huff and puff at you and think you're the worst person ever for dropping off parcels, which is crazy.
I think it was more situation. Crazily, it was the shop I used to work in when I was 16
really?
to 21, and he had been my manager at one point. He just didn't recognise who I was, because I'd lived in Kent for such a long time. And I think it was just his situation. I think he was worried about somebody else complaining.
Well, the thing is with COVID as well, it sent everyone into this state of shock where no one knew what was going on. Yeah. And no one knew about how bad or what could change and what could happen. So I think everyone did. I don't want to say over panicked, because it was a big thing, but I think at the time, I mean, you saw what it was like on the first couple of days of lockdown, people racing out to get pasta and toilet roll and hand sanitizer, and people trying to sell it on eBay, and then suddenly now they're left with job lots of sanitizer you see at the car boot.
And now in hindsight, I shouldn't have stopped.
No, of course, but at the time you had lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, and it's, I think it's made me better, I have to say, as an eBayer. Not better, different. It's made me open myself up to those new things and to look at new things. And I did actually start a new eBay account as well, which was, I think, my scariest moment. Mm-hmm. Because I was working off my personal account for a long time. And I thought, I don't think I want to be on this account anymore. I want something, still a personal account, but I want it to have my business name on it. I don't want it to have something
a bit separate. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And so to start from zero, I was scared.
Yeah.
And I think, I laugh every time on Instagram I see people, eBay and Vinted, somebody's got zero feedback. Should I sell to this person?
Should I trust them?
This person? Should I trust them? And I think, somebody has to start somewhere. And some people, like me, were starting again. If you looked at my account now, I've only got, I think it's something like 1.2k sales on this new account. But on my old one, I've got 8.8. Okay.
But the thing is, I think with the feedback and the sales, I think once you get past 100 feedback, honestly, I don't think anyone looks. And I must admit, I never look at I never look at anyone else's feedback. And when people buy from me, I never look at their 0 feedback and think, oh, they're going to be a problem. In fact, normally they're the people who aren't a problem.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I don't really get many.
I don't even look anymore. I actually don't have the time to look. I
Yeah, of
literally
course.
packing my items up and getting them out, you know,
Yeah.
and getting on with the next ones before the school run. You know, it's literally my time is. I don't have time to sit and worry about those little things. And if I'm buying, I don't look because I want the item.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
actually, if they don't send it, okay, there's a problem then, and maybe I should have looked. But so I just go and look for another one.
Yeah.
But I just want that item.
Of course. People are excited about your channel. This is all for your channel here. Do it so you're opening it up for the first time on camera. Yeah, always very exciting. And what you could always do as well is you could always have 2 cameras set up, and you can have one for your YouTube recording and have your Instagram live at the same time, and just kind of talk to your Instagram and then put that out on YouTube. So there's lots of things you can do join together. Have you got the channel made then, Jess? Can I plug it in the chat? Have you got it made up yet?
You can.
Oh, let's get you some subs.
Do you know, I'm going to say you can, but I don't actually know anything about it because my daughter's done it.
All right. Well,
She's
if you can do me a favour?
AuctionMum. It's still AuctionMum.
AuctionMum. Let me try and find it quickly. Let me see if we can find it.
So my 12-year-old, my eldest twin, she's YouTube obsessed and wants to start her own channel. And I've kind of said, can she hold off putting herself on YouTube? As I think she's just a little bit young for it yet. But she's so into editing and all things like that I've said I'd pay her. It's her first job.
She'll love it, and she can use your channel in a way to practice that editing aspect as well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think you and Luke were talking the other day about taking on family, and I thought, well, I'm trying to get my eldest into it, and thought it'll look good on her CV and all the rest of it.
I'm trying to find it now. If I can find it before we finished, I will chuck it in there. But if not, Jess, if you can send me the link to it later, what I will do is I'll add it to the bottom of this live underneath so people can follow. But also I'll plug it on my Instagram as well. And if everyone in the chat can go and follow and sub, and let's get it plugged and let's see if we can get you some views and some subs ASAP. There are Ruth saying, so good, so exciting, good for you. Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what I will say? Anyone who puts himself out on any social media, whether it be Instagram or YouTube, fair play, because it takes a lot. And it takes a lot of getting used to as well, because the first YouTube video you put out, you'll be nervous as anything. And it's so different to Instagram, because in Instagram, we all do our stories, a quick chat, phone down, you forget about it. On YouTube, you'll tend to overthink it. And the one bit of advice I can say to you, just be yourself. Don't overthink it. If you make a mistake, don't worry, because we all make mistakes. So don't overstress it the best you can.
I think that's going to be my hardest thing, not worrying about kind of how I look and what I'm saying and what I'm, I think the very first time I did my Instagram live, my mum called me and said, you can't do that again.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you mean? She said, it wasn't scripted. You were erring and you were thising and you were that.
I err and I'm all the time. Yeah.
And I said, but that's what they want, Mum. That's the thing. No, even your dad agrees. No, you need to write a script.
you got to remember, with YouTube stuff, we're not doing like EastEnders or Coronation Street where we're actors. At the end of the day, we're just talking. And I noticed when I even today when I put the subtitles on my Instagram story promoting this, the amount of I do all the time without realizing. So at the end of the day, like, just be that's the best thing I recommend for anyone on YouTube. I'm no expert, but honestly, be yourself. And when I first started more so, I was super nervous about putting things out in case I said a word wrong, in case I pronounced something wrong, in case I said something in the wrong way and someone comments. But even if they comment, do you know what? It's good for the algorithm.
Yeah. So, a watch is a watch. So
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think the thing that I haven't touched on, sorry, James,
no, you're good.
Is that I sell for some businesses as well.
Let's talk about that then. So talk about that. So is that different to a sort of general public member? I guess it is different. And what kind of things you sell? Different. What can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you it's a wedding dress lady.
Okay. Yeah.
She used to own 4 shops. She now owns 2. And she
Hmm.
sends me all of her sample things. The reason I've brought it up is because I've got another new venture as well. Because
Oh, two exclusives tonight.
she sends me a lot of wedding dresses, but she also sends me a lot of bridesmaid dresses. And people who follow me on Instagram know that I struggle with these bridesmaid dresses. I struggle to get rid of them. They are difficult.
Mhm.
The bridesmaid dresses I get sent are one color, one style. You know, there's not a set. When people are getting married, they've got 4 or 5 bridesmaids. They want the same style. They want the same color. I haven't got that.
Sure.
So to get rid of these dresses is difficult, and she sends me a lot. And so my idea is to try and monopolize on the prom thing, but it's not going to be on eBay because
Yeah.
they don't sell. I have wedding dresses on eBay for £18.
And they don't
And
go.
they don't budge. I have some that do, but on the vast amounts that I'm getting them in, and I've got prom dresses that are worth £300, £400. I've got them on £50. They've got no watches, no views, no anything.
So where's the best platform in your mind then to sell that kind of thing? Because maybe eBay isn't a place where people go shopping for prom dresses and wedding
Yes,
dresses.
I don't think it is, and I am actually going to go to my girls' school, the twin school. They
Mhm.
started high school last September, so they're about to go into year 8. And I was talking to my client, and she was saying she brings her prom things out in
Yeah.
October. I was like,
Okay.
October, that's crazy. And she said,
Makes
yeah, but
sense
the
though.
really organised ones,
Hmm.
they're already on it. They're already
Yeah.
thinking prom. So literally when school's open next week, I'm going to be on the phone to my girls' school, and she actually closed her Liverpool store not that long ago, and I have some mannequins, I have wedding dress rails and things like that. And so I'm going to say to them, I'll take the rails into the school. So people who don't want to go and spend £300-400, we could do an evening where I'll have every dress for £50. And that's great for me because there's no fees.
Yeah. Cool. And just sell it directly to them. That makes perfect sense. And do you know what?
Directly.
Another thing to do as well is maybe longer term is to create a website as well for that kind of thing. Because I bet
It's
a lot of
something,
people go onto Google and kind of just search like prom dress.
yeah. It's something I have thought about in the past. There are some like dress agencies and consignment sellers that I know that don't sell
Hmm.
through eBay. They only sell through their own website. But what I do notice about them is they've always got sales on.
Yeah, always.
And always. And it's not that I want loads for these dresses, but I think £50 is not a bad amount for a dress that is worth, and that are pristine. Some of them have never even, they're only dresses that have been tried on, and some of them haven't ever been tried on.
Yeah.
And I have them all colours, all sizes, all anything. So I'm just thinking I'm going to take them. And if I do this one school, then I could maybe branch out to some of the other high schools in the area and have a
Hmm.
little run that I do. And because I spoke to my client and I said, I've probably not got, if it does work for this school, I've probably not got enough to go to another school. And she said, I can get you more.
Yeah.
She said, I can get you loads more. She said, people literally cannot get rid of their sample prom and bridesmaid dresses. They can't. They're literally
Yeah.
practically giving them away.
That's crazy when you think about it. The amount of money that people spend on them new, and they just once they're worn once. I mean, a lot of people don't want to keep it. It takes up room. So you're right.
Exactly.
Michelle's trying to pretend she didn't know about your YouTube channel, although it's a world exclusive. Jess told me earlier that Michelle knew already. Michelle, so I was gutted that it wasn't a complete world exclusive. My channel, you knew slightly before, but we won't talk about that. All right, she's not on your channel plugging it; it's mine. So George is saying pop up porn prom bizarre. Is that what it's called? Bizarre.
Bizarre.
Bizarre. See, there we are. See, I
Yeah.
can't pronounce things, so that's what I'm saying
Yeah.
about YouTube. Don't worry too much about it. And Tommy sums it up perfectly. When starting, just share your passion and go for it. Let your energy shine through. He's got a quote book, I'm sure, and get into the routine. Once the band is up and running, you can tighten up the notches and fine tune things to improve. And I completely agree. In no uncertain terms, put out a video and enjoy it. That's the best thing you can do for YouTube.
That's great. Thank you.
I'll just answer a few more questions and then we're going to have to end it soon just because I do a live call at 7:30 as well. So I need to get off for that. Benji's saying you don't have to share this, by the way, because I know figures are one thing, but would you mind talking about your actual numbers and how many sales a week and general earnings? So maybe not the earnings if you don't want to, but on average, how many sales you make a week?
Oh, God, on average, I do.
It's all a bit like that with reselling. Sometimes it's a bit like some weeks it's 100, some weeks it's 5, you know, so just an average.
I would say on average, it's about 60 a week, which I know can seem quite small to some people because some people are doing nearly 40 a day.
Yeah, of course.
But what I tend to say when I'm obviously talking to people, I'm full-time but with 3 kids. So I say I'm full-time, but actually there's times where I can't be full-time. So, and like I've just said to you, I've taken this month off. And no client is ever upset that I take time off and things like that. So my numbers fluctuate. That I'm just going to be honest, my numbers really fluctuate. And one month is up and one month is down. And I thought, stupidly, I would take August off and then be straight back to it September. And then Charlotte's Crohn's has come and hit me in the face. And we're probably going to be back in Alder Hay and not probably working through September. But what I can do is what I know I do is I take things with me. I take bags of stuff to the hospital with me. I tend to do my my scheduling at swimming on every other Friday.
You find a way.
I found a way. I found a routine and a way and of doing it, but it does fluctuate. Like I said, I used to do more. Back in the day, it used to be crazy busy. And I found that it's dipped quite a lot since COVID. Since I used to do a lot before COVID, is what I mean.
Yeah, I think you're doing amazing with the 3 children as well, and all the things you've got to juggle with that as well, and the fact that you can do this, and with regards to the amount of stuff you're getting in as well, the fact you can process it, you're managing clients as well. So you're not just managing yourself and your own sales, you're managing a number of different clients and making sure they're on board, they know what's going on. So I think you're doing crazily well for the time you have. And so I think you should be proud of it. And George is right there. Taking breaks are important. And this is what I'm learning for September with regards to taking a month off YouTube. I think to myself, YouTube is still going to be there when I come back in October. Hopefully you guys still want to come and listen to me talk on the lives and come and watch the videos.
I do.
And hopefully people are going to be like, oh, do you know what? It's good to have you back. So I think the break part is really important. And one hack I will say, Jess, that I've learned as well, is if you can take more photos than you need and have them saved, it's great for when things come up. Like you say, if you're at swimming or you're at a hospital, take your laptop. And if you've got the photos, all you need to do is just do the draft.
Well, I do it
drag
the
your photos in.
for you, James.
Oh, you draft first, don't you, and then do photos?
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm saying. If you have your photos there, but it works either way.
But what I do is I draft for a week and then photograph for a week.
Okay, so you do it in blocks.
Yeah. I've just found that it's easier for me to get. Sometimes I can have nearly 200 drafts. Just ready to go. And then I photograph, because I sit here, I literally sit in this seat where I'm sat right now. I sit here, I sit with a tape measure, and I do the listing, measure it and everything. I do it there and then I can put that item ready to be steamed and processed, because they come out the bags really creased. And so I know that is the worst job, is steaming it, getting it ready to, and so I fear that job. That's a job where you kind of put and you're like, you know, I've got to tackle it, but I don't love doing it. It's one of them. I need to have the right.
Yeah, you need to be in the right. You need to be in the right headspace to do it, and also as well, you need to have no other distractions, because it's not one of the jobs you want to start or stop. You kind of want to get it all done at the same time, knowing it's done.
And I know the week that I have the kids, because I have the kids 1 week on, 1 week off as well.
Yeah.
So the week that I have the kids, I get up early to do school run. So I get up, I do that.
Yeah.
And then I'm photographing. So that is the week that I photograph. I spend the week that they're not here drafting, sitting here, just draft, and housework.
Yeah. That's amazing. I think you're doing amazingly, honestly. And Lisa's saying there, we're going back slightly, but I think people want to see the dress and try them on. And I completely agree with things like prom dress and wedding dresses. It's such a, it's not like you're buying a t-shirt or a dress to wear out at a party. You know, it's big events. So I agree. People,
you can measure them all you like.
Yeah.
And tell them measurements.
Until you try it on, you never know.
You never know. And
also, as well, it's an experience, isn't it? At the end of the day, I think for most people, you know, trying on the prom dress is part of the experience. And like when it comes to wedding dresses, I know when we got married, Leanne wanted to go to loads of bridal shops, and funnily enough, she actually bought a dress from the first bridal shop she went to. And I said to her, why didn't you still go to other shops just to have the experience of doing it?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people like the experience and kind of getting their friends to come. You know, if they all got parents alive, getting them to come as well, like the mums and stuff to go. I think it all goes into that. So I think your idea of actually physically going somewhere to do it and selling it in person, you're right. You've got no fees and they're still getting that experience. So
exactly. And okay, it's going to possibly take a little bit more time because I'll have to steam the dresses and go and actually physically do it there.
Yeah.
But if I'm not listing these loads of dresses on eBay, because I've done that before, it takes so long.
I think you'll sell more in person as well, because if it's an actual thing where people are going there to buy, they're ready to buy. You've got customers who are not browsing like they do on eBay and sort of think about it for a couple of weeks or months and then come back. You've got people who are actively ready to spend money and buy. So I think you'd do a lot better in person as well.
And I'm also promoting.
Of course, yeah. Because you're saying to them people, this is what I do as a business. And what I also do is bang, consignment. So when you finish with the dress, you know, could we do something in the future?
And the thing is, I don't have business cards and I don't have leaflets. And I was listening to one of your actual, I think it was you were talking about leaflets that you did.
Oh, it might have been on Instagram.
Yeah. And I was thinking, well, maybe if I'm doing this in person, maybe I need to have something that isn't, because I just give out my phone number or I say, look me up on Instagram. This is what I'm constantly saying to people. I'm AuctionMum on Instagram. You know, look me up, you know,
I would be getting in front of as many schools in your area as you can with your details about what you do prom wise. And I think that could unlock so many doors where you can say, I will come down.
What's so great about the girls' school is they've just launched, and this is why I'm going to them first. They're actually talking about sustainability. They've had a brand new building. They're talking about being eco-friendly, and they've just launched their own school uniform swap shop. Yeah. And I thought, if I can go down that route, the sustainability, the parents that can't afford, you know, all of that, then
perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, I'm going to have to wrap things up, Jess. I said I've got to get ready for this other call, but I just want to say huge thank you for coming on, giving me your time, and also answering all the questions, because I think for a lot of people, this has been really, I mean, Ian's saying there, it's been a really good chat, and it's so different to what a lot of people do where, you know, you buy stuff, you sell it, and that's what you do as a business. Yours is you get given stuff and then you sell it, which is a real different thing. And the cost of goods thing at zero absolutely blew my mind. Again, I never even thought about that as well.
Do you know what I never thought about? Somebody said it to me the other week. Why didn't I offer to buy the things off them? And it never occurred to me.
Yeah. So kind of say maybe two options. So you kind of say, we do a consignment method where I am going to give you X amount, or I will make you a one-off offer now of £30 and I'll take the lot. And if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, I'll lose out. Yeah. So something else to think of in the future as well.
If anybody does want to speak to me about finances, they can message me on Instagram.
Let's plug you. Let's plug you before you go.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'm AuctionMum. Hi on Instagram.
AuctionMum on Instagram and YouTube. When we get your channel, we can plug it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you do want to message me about finances, and I can share my spreadsheets with individual people. I just don't like putting it out there. I never share names of
I'd rather
clients.
you didn't. I'd rather you didn't put it out there for the world. But you're right.
Yeah.
It's good that you're offering that. If anyone wants to go to Jess and ask any questions and wants to see what happens there,
Yeah.
you seem like me, a bit of an open book. So you're happy to share.
Yeah,
it.
I'm always happy to help, because I know what I do is different, and the way that I've honed it to my spreadsheets and whatever, I know I can help people. So please feel free to message me.
Yeah, so everyone, please go and follow Jess if you don't on Instagram at AuctionMum. And once Jess sends me over her YouTube link, I will be plugging it on my Instagram tonight, and I will also share at the bottom of this live video. So can we all please go and support Jess on her journey on YouTube? And I can't wait to see your unboxing videos and all the other stuff you've got coming on. So that'd be really cool. But thanks once again for the chat. I will see you all in October with some new guests. I've got some people lined up already. But yeah, Jess, thanks again, and we will see you all very soon. I'll end the broadcast anyway. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.